Hi, everyone, and welcome to the You Have the Power To podcast. My name is Melinda Van Fleet, and I'm a certified next level life and business coach, mentor, Ahai 7D practitioner, business consultant, owner of Good Karma Sport Fishing with my husband Ryan, freelance writer, speaker, and best-selling author. I see people for who they are, where they are, and help them with where they wish to go. The You Have the Power To podcast is a thought-provoking and transparent weekly podcast that delves into relationships with yourself and others in business and life. My intention is to help you up-level your mindset, confidence, mental health, wealth, money, spirituality, and success. Because you know what? We all have the power to. Thanks in advance for listening. Now let's do this. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 21, yay, of the You Have the Power To podcast. I am so excited and grateful you are here today. Thank you so much for listening, and I appreciate anyone who shares my podcast too. So I appreciate you listening, I appreciate hearing from you, and I appreciate you sharing. So I'm just putting that out there. And if you feel called to share this podcast with a friend, I would be so forever grateful in terms of spreading the word on all the things that I share and I have learned that I love to pass on to everyone else. So thank you. I am actually recording this on Thursday because tomorrow I am heading over to Naples to hang out with my beautiful friend Terry. We have been friends for a long time. I've been in the Keys for over 13 years. So I think we've been friends for 12, I want to say. And it's just been such an amazing friendship. We've both grown and evolved and done so many different things in the years that we've known each other and also in the course of our lives. And I just really appreciate her. So I'm super excited to go visit her. And so I'm recording my podcast a little early. So the first thing I want to do, because I want to make this a habit, and I've been doing it, I think, a little inconsistently, but I'm going to be on track. We're going to talk about perfection in this podcast, but that is share a review, a testimonial. And I love receiving testimonials. Gosh, it goes on so many levels. And I want to share this with people out there in case you're struggling with asking for testimonials, because I used to struggle with asking for testimonials. Yep, I raised my hand high. I was one of those people that was like, no, I don't want to bug anyone. Everyone's busy. I don't want to be like full of ego. It's not that at all. You really have to get over it. I had to get over it. And still sometimes it bothers me a little bit, but I have to push through being uncomfortable because a lot of people like to hear from other people. And I learn a lot from what someone writes in a review or testimonial. And that just helps me do a better job and expand that piece for more people to have a really great experience as well. So there's just so many things that go into a testimonial and a review. I write a lot of them. It's just something I believe in. And so I really love sharing them when someone gives me one. So I'm trying to make this a regular thing on my podcast. And I really appreciate anyone out there that gives me a testimonial or review. And it can be on Apple Podcast. It could be you wrote me a note. It could be anything. I don't care. I got shut out of Google. So that's a long story. I won't bore you with the details. So yeah, just send me an email or LinkedIn or on Apple. It doesn't matter, but I'm just so appreciative. So I'm going to share this. And this review testimonial, oops, my soda pop here, is from a very, very special human. His name is Jose Hernandez. And Jose, I've actually known for quite a long time from when I was a sales rep. And he has been working at Shell World with the beautiful Danielle Hill and her amazing team for quite some time now. And I have had the utmost honor. It's just, I don't even think I could put words around it. It's going to make me cry. To work with this team and do a human design workshop series with the team. And it was Danielle's idea. She's just an amazing leader on so many levels. And I really got to know everyone on the team. And Jose just gave me a review for the human design workshop. So I want to read it here because it's beautiful. And again, I'm so appreciative. Human design class. Due to my design, it's a bit complicated to get the words out. The class was by far amazing. I learned so much about myself, things that I had no idea about, but they're all true. Definitely made me see life a little bit different to help me with my everyday peace. And now, how I function best and how I don't function well, I believe, are crucial to know. At the end of it, I know so much more about myself than I would have ever known. And what's hard to get across in this podcast is there's a lot of things he said in the review that circle back to our readings together and his design. So that's why it's just such a really great review. So it just really lit me up. So I wanted to share that. So thank you so much, Jose. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, the rest of the team. And as always, thank you to everyone else out there. So this podcast, I want to talk about human design, yay, and perfection, because I had the word perfection hit me in the face a couple of times this week. Number one, I was interviewed on someone else's podcast. His name is Carter Tapp, and I think his podcast is new. And his brother has a very successful podcast, so he's launching a podcast. And he found me on LinkedIn and asked me to be a guest on his podcast. And we had a great conversation. And one of the things I ended up sharing about was perfection, because his podcast was in regards to being a coach and having a podcast. And when I started my very first podcast, which was originally called, there's probably not many of you out there that'll remember this, the Good Karma Life Coach. And that was called the Good Karma Life Coach for about maybe 2 episodes. And then I changed it to Success Coach because I just felt better about the word. So I changed it pretty quickly. And I beat myself up for such a long time about my podcast, about how I spoke, about my tone in terms of, I think I have a higher pitched voice. So my inflections are all over the board. and I just really judged myself a lot. I tried to be perfect. And what was going on out there in the land back then was the majority of podcasts were scripted, unless it was an interview podcast. And I don't listen to that many podcasts anymore to know if that's a thing or not, but I couldn't do it. Like, I just could not script. I was like, this is just not me. And I learned a lot about myself as a speaker in general by having a podcast, which was actually one of my intentions when I started the podcast, was to get better at speaking. And over the years, like, I just had to start to just let it go. I had to really just start to let go of wanting to be perfect. And one of the pieces of, let's say, advice I heard out there a few years ago, and I can't remember the exact date, but it definitely was instrumental in starting to help me shift my mindset, was from Jay Shetty. And he had said on a YouTube video, again, I don't remember when or exactly whose podcast or what it was about, but he said that when he was doing his YouTube videos, which was way back when he first got started, he was a YouTuber. If the video was like 70% good, he published it. And that just really resonated with me. I was like, I can get to 70%. I can get to 70% because I don't think it's all terrible, right? And what they teach you in the podcasting world is to be perfect and to have an editor and to sit and edit. And honestly, like, that's a lot. And sometimes I think that a lot of the stuff that's taught is just so people have something to teach. I'm going to be real honest about that. I see it consistently. And it's not really necessary. I don't think it's really necessary. So if you can get to where you're 70% happy with what you're producing as content, go with it. Just go with it. Because honestly, you're the one that notices things more than anyone else. And is anyone really going to remember? Probably not. And the other thing too is that's super important is a lot of people get stuck in trying to be perfect. I cannot tell you how many clients or just friends or people that I meet like in a group or hear talking in a group are stuck on creating something in their business because they're trying to be perfect. They're trying to be perfect. They're like, oh, I just don't like it. So I just stopped. I don't like the sound of my voice. So I just stopped. Or I can't figure this out to make the perfect graphic. So I stopped. Or they're delaying. Either one is honestly not so good because you don't need to be perfect. You really don't need to be perfect. And in conjunction with stopping or delaying, I really wanted to segue into talking about human design because human design is just one of the most eye-opening aha moment, grounding into yourself, grounding into having compassion for other people, tools, modalities, systems, however you want to put it, out there. It's just amazing. And human design is something I started to learn about and embody back in 2020. It is truly an amazing, amazing gift to the world. And it's been kind of disheartening a little bit on Facebook because there have been some other coaches that are trying to bring it down. And I don't know why they're doing that, but it's just really not necessary. It's truly amazing. If you don't believe in things like that, then you're probably not listening to this podcast anyways, but it's okay. Just like bless them and let them go. So if you have friends or family that are like, that's kind of weird, like, that's okay. Then just don't talk about it. Like, just bless them and let it go. It's totally fine. But I have found the system to be amazing. So I do embody and infuse it in my life and in my business, in my coaching business. Again, I had this workshop session with a small team that was amazing. I'm open to doing more of those. I spent time to put it together, so I would love to expand on that and work with more teams that are like-minded and open to this type of work because it was transformational, not only for each individual person, but how they work together as a team and understanding them from a true diversity. We talk about diversity a lot, but this is true diversity that has come to you from the divine because you don't fill out a personality assessment when you do your human design body graph, when you pull it, and I'll put the link in the notes of how you can pull it for free. It's just based on your birthday. So yeah, you're not answering questions and leaving it up to a system to basically pump out what you are or are not. Like, this is just truly from the divine. So what I wanted to talk about was just the basic concept of our types. And there are 5 types in human design. If you don't know this, I'm just share this with you really quick for context. There's generators, there are manifesting generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. And when I was having conversations with the team at Shell World about the types, I took my calculator out and I tallied up the percentage that is estimated of the types that are not generators. So a generator is someone who has a lot of inner strength and power to keep going. They're kind of the workhorse, and that's me. I'm a workhorse. We're the people that can get it done, but we also know when to stop. The rest of the types don't have that same capacity naturally to get work done. They often need to rest. They may work a little differently. And when I tallied up the percentage of the remainder that are not generators, it's 65%. 65% of the population is estimated to not be a generator. So what does this mean? This means that 65% of the world is putting pressure on themselves to achieve some level of work ethic, let's say. Some may even call it hustle. Some may even call it expectations of things that you should get done in a day. And I use the should word, should get done in a day, or should be doing in your business. And it's likely not a good path to follow. It's just really likely not. You have to learn your own design and follow what fits best for you so your life is just a little easier. Just easier, more peaceful, more joyous. There's a lot packed into that in terms of your self-theme and your not self-theme. But why are we trying to make our lives harder? Why are people following someone else's viewpoint of perfection that's just probably not even the right path for them to take? Think about it. So all of those people out there that are manifesting generators, manifestors, projectors, or reflectors that are buying a book on how to hustle, is that really the best book to buy? I mean, seriously, it's not in your nature to be a hustle workaholic, working 12 to 14 hours a day, trying to produce content on 10 platforms. Heck, maybe trying to post something every day. That may not even be aligned for you. Whereas for me, it's like totally aligned. It's no big deal. I'm a generator. So I can do that. I can have a podcast. I can easily do the YouTube. I can easily post on the majority of platforms. I do a newsletter. I help my husband. My gosh, a lot. People don't even realize. And it doesn't bother me at all. It's natural. It actually fuels my soul to be super busy. And that was something I really had to get grounded to way back when, because other people would judge me for being busy. And I didn't understand. I was like, why am I getting judged for being busy? I'm like really happy being busy. I'm happy being busy. I love being busy. It kind of makes me crazy when I'm not super busy. But that's because that's my design. And then my husband, Ryan, he's a manifesting generator, and he's always needed and loved to take a nap. Just an hour and a half. It's nothing crazy. It's just a little recharge nap. And I never, ever, ever had a problem with it. I was always like, you do you. That's totally fine. Not a big deal. And so when I pulled his chart way back when in 2020 and saw that he was a manifesting generator, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. You take your nap. It totally fits within your design. It's totally fine. And that is perfection. Perfection is doing what is aligned with you, your design, your soul, your higher self, however you want to look at it. It's all good. It's all perfect. It's all perfect. And that is the premise of human design, is we are perfect. Each one of us are perfect. That is what is taught. That is the premise. And that's what lots of human design coaches say. And it's true. We are perfect. And it's just really, really crucial to understand that. As we're out there, judging ourselves. I've talked before about how I'm someone who only has one gate in channel in my throat, and that's the 2343. I've had to learn to embrace that. And I've had to learn to embrace that too from understanding other people. So if someone else is really wordy and can easily talk for an hour on a Facebook Live, like they probably have more gates and channels in their throat than I do. I only have one. Freak genius, 2343. That's it. So there's so much that goes into understanding perfection, what it means for you, and who you should be following and trying to be like. Really, no one. Just you. When you let it go, all the other stuff, and realize that you are the one that's perfect, and you truly embody this and infuse it into your life, oh my gosh, it's so amazing how much lighter you'll feel. But that is the work. That's what we have to unwire ourselves from. We have to unwire ourselves from listening to all this other stuff out there that someone has told you what you should do. You should get up by 5 o'clock in the morning, and you should sit and write your book first thing for the first 20 minutes, or you should work out right away, or you should eat the big frog first. Oh my gosh, like there's so many of those things, right? But how many of those things did you really do and they worked for you? How many of those things became habits and practices that you're still doing to this day? Think about it. I tried this morning when I was driving to the marina with Ryan, I tried to think about what of the 3D activities that I have learned from someone that I still really do. So there's things that I've tweaked a little bit and changed, but do I do anything exactly like just 3D activities? 3D activities? No. Everything I've tweaked and changed. And that's fine. That's what worked for me. There may be more like peripheral practices, more like spiritual practices and habits that I've picked up from other people that are more to the T, let's say, and that's fine. But in the 3D action oriented world, no. I get up when I want to get up. I work out when I want to work out. I go to bed when I want to go to bed. I eat when I want to eat. I work the way I want to work. There's lots of things encompassed in that. And that's what works for me. And that is perfection. So I'm going to leave my podcast at that. I feel like it's complete. And I just really, really, really enjoy doing this podcast. And I'm just so grateful again to everyone listening. If you are interested in also following me and being connected or subscribing, I think that's the word I should be using, on YouTube, that would be amazing. I would love that. I have been more consistent with doing a YouTube video, and this podcast is also on YouTube, so you can listen on YouTube. I love YouTube, so I'd appreciate subscribing and liking and commenting if you feel so called. That would be awesome. And yeah, if you have something to share along this conversation, please feel free. I would love to hear from you. And if you're interested in a Ahai session or working with me one-on-one, please reach out. I will put all of my links in the show notes. So until next week, you have the power to be your own perfect self. Thanks again for listening. So just remember, you have the power to reframe and manifest faster. Thank you so much for listening.